we're back at it here with another UFC main event breakdown. For this one, I'm joined by head coach and owner of Syndicate MMA, John Wood. We're going to get his thoughts on the main event of UFC 306 between Sean O'Malley as he takes on the #1 contender and someone you coach, obviously, Merab Dvalishvili. First off, coach, thanks for the time. How's everything going? I'm guessing times are busy, right? Obviously, you got the fight approaching. Luckily, you'll be staying in Vegas for this one, but what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, great, man. Thanks for having me on. Everything's good.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
busy. I got Brendan Marat this weekend, Saturday. I got Cody Steele Tuesday. I got Marab on Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been nonstop, and obviously also getting ready for a bunch of other big fights. But Marab's looking great. Couldn't be happier with where we're at with that, and I think it's going to be a great fight, great weekend for us.
So obviously we're going to key in on the main event a little bit here, but yeah, I mean, shout out
Sure.
to those guys that are also on the card. Some of your guys, shout out. I hope that everything goes well for them. Speaking of this fight, right? Obviously, since we're talking about the main event, I want to ask you this to start, coach. We saw Merab move over from his team at Serra-Longo, New York, right, to Syndicate MMA, where he now trains with you. I mean, how long have you guys been working together now? How long has this relationship been going?
So I think we're going on, I want to say 3 or 4 years now, where he's been coming back and forth for a while.
Yeah.
This isn't something that's new.
Okay, so he was coming back and forth before he even fully committed over there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's been pretty much fully um, training full time with us since about Aldo. But like that's where he was really kind of sunk into the gym. Jan was all in full camp here. Cejudo all in full camp. About Jan is where I really, about the Jan fight, is where I started kind of really working with him one on one. He's still bouncing back and forth. Like he'd go out there for a week or so, or a couple days here and there. But he's been with us for quite some time now.
I would ask sort of how's the transition been for him, but if he's sort of been coming back and forth even before this, and I would imagine it was kind of a seamless transition, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is one of those things. Like, I'm not a guy that, I don't need the limelight. I don't need to be, hey, look at me. I'm in the cameras and this, that kind of thing. Attention's great if you earn it and you do this and do that. But like, I got the utmost respect for Sarah Longo, and for Rob and whatever he wanted to do with that team. And Longo is still coming out and coaching. He's got a corner. Rob has a lot of respect for those guys, and so do I. So
Yeah, I
it's
love
not
that. Yeah.
something that, when the time was right for him to make the announcement of the decision of, hey, I'm here full time. This is what's best for me. That's up to him and to them. Said I love those guys. I think they're great. But the transition's been phenomenal. It was one of those things, and I've said this in multiple interviews. At first, Rob first got here, he's known as a wild man, as a crazy guy. I mean, you see his fights and his antics and things, and it's just I didn't know how. When I'm big on things happening organic, so I let him come into the room and start getting, acclimated and start, getting the feel for the training partners. And he just kind of kept coming back, kept coming back. It's like that stray dog. You feed him, they keep coming back, and then maybe you start to pet him a little bit, and it was one of those
Right,
things
right.
where the relationship just built naturally. And as we started to kind of work together, I could see, oh, this is actually, I wasn't sure how he would take with technical advice and things, but man, I cannot stress enough how much of an awesome surprise it was to like see how fast and how good he learns, how good he receives information. It's a little bit different, just like everybody, but it's been great, man. He's one of those guys that's phenomenal to work with. Today, one of his last sparring sessions, just something we worked on a couple days ago, 2 nights ago. He was hitting it perfect in the cage today. Even after he hit it, pointing at me, laughing like, oh, I'm like, we're both, going crazy. He's been awesome
Great.
to work with. It's been a great transition. I love the dude. He's a pleasure to work with. He's brought a lot of great Georgian fighters and people to the gym too. Like that's been like we've got a influx of foreign fighters now, and that's been a great part of great in part to Marab. So it's been great, man. Like having him on the mat, having his personality, what you see in his videos, what you see in his interviews. It's really him. He's a funny dude. He's great to be around. Like my kid, I got a 9-year-old son, absolutely loves him. You know, it's his favorite fighter. He did a school report on him. You know, all these kind of things. Like he's just awesome, dude. It's been a real pleasure.
You see the Piotr Jan fight, for example, and Merab looks like a workhorse. I mean, the guy never gets tired. We saw Eddie Bravo have some crazy training stories about Tony back in his heyday, right? They're doing hills, he's lapping everyone. Is there anything Merab has done behind the scenes in training that's shocked you at all?
Oh man, yeah,
I
yeah.
could
I
tell
mean,
by the reaction. There's probably too many to tell.
Rob is a madman. You know, like I
Yeah.
said, he's awesome to have him around. Like there's times, you know, I'm not kidding. There's just every day it's something with him. Every day it's funny. You're gonna hear this loud screams and yells across the room, and everybody panics and looks around.
Might
It's
climb to
it's
the edge of the cage and walk on
there's
it.
never a dull moment with Marab. You know, a lot of it is just the guys like people do not understand the kind of volume he puts out. He did 8 hard rounds the other day. I stopped him after 5. I was like, "Oh, we're done." He's like, "Oh, no, 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 one more." So okay, whatever. I let him do one more.
He's
Sixth round with fresh, high level guys. He's still in there, just like round one, like it's nothing. I pulled him off the mat. You know, I literally like turned my back, and he's back. You know, back in the corner, sparring more rounds. This dude will go for literally 10 rounds if you let him. You know, and it's that's one of those things. Is literally like you have to control the guy. You have to be like, no, 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 we're done. We're healthy. We're good. You know, like this last week or two of camp, I've kept my eye on him, where he's going in the room, who he's going with. You know, you've got to literally walk him off the mat, take his gear off, and make him stop. The guy's always doing something crazy. There's a lot of things that you know happen in the room that will leave in the room, but he is a very very entertaining dude to be around.
I feel inclined to ask this because, excuse me, the event is going to be so special, right? I mean, are you expecting something completely different here? You know, no matter where you go, usually it's the standard arena with a roof over it, octagon in the center. I mean, it's safe to say this might be a little different, right? Even from the walkout, it might be like, wait, where do we walk out from? You know, stuff like that. Like, are you expecting it to be a bit different in that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything. I mean, it better be for everything we've heard. You know, if they shit the bed on that, it's going to be a massive
Millions
disappointment
of dollars
for
spent,
everyone.
right? And so
I
on.
cannot see the UFC and Dana White not holding up to their end of the bargain on this show. You know, I'm expecting some crazy displays. You know, we're hearing rumblings and things, but they've kept it really, really tight lipped. So nobody. That's the number one question. Do you know anything that's going to happen? Do we know how the video screen set up for this? I'm like, listen, the only thing we could really kind of bank on is what we saw with the NHL draft. That was a little bit of something that I think we're going to see. And that was pretty awesome. But I do think it's going to be a digital, like, you know, masterpiece from what I hear is going on. I've been in the sphere. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty overwhelming when you're in there. I can't imagine that. It's really interesting to think about what they're going to have going on during the fights, you know, because you don't want fighters looking up at the screen going, "Oh, hey, there I am," you know, oops, you know, it's going to be interesting. Like I don't think they, like I said, I think it's got to be pretty cool for whatever they have going on because they've kept it so hush hush. And I work with, like, I've got you know, a show going on, you know, with UFC right now, and a lot of people that are in production and things going on behind the scenes, and nobody knows nothing. So it's got to be pretty cool, I'm guessing.
Interesting. Yeah. 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 Tight lip, huh?
Oh yeah, big time.
So let's get to the major stuff, right? This isn't me saying this, but you know, people are saying the notion of this fight is Marab's looking to get a hold of O'Malley, take him down. O'Malley's supposed to keep his distance, make sure the fight stays standing, work his game, right? It can't be that black and white, right? Is there more to this fight than that?
Listen, every fight where I train fighters, I don't care what your specialty is, what your background is, whatever it is you come from, you're going to be an MMA fighter. So you're going to learn to punch going forward. You're going to learn to counterfight. You're going to learn to take down. You're going to learn to get up. You're going to learn jiu-jitsu. You're going to learn to grapple. And you're going to learn defense. That is a borderline thing at Syndicate MMA that we work on. Is there's no one thing, no one fighter. You can have a specialty, and you can be good at whatever it is you're great at, but we're going to make sure that you're good at everything across the board, that you're ready. Every fight, people, listen, I've seen O'Malley shoot takedowns. He shot takedowns on Jan. I've seen O'Malley do this. I've seen fighters that, you have to be ready for everything. So as far as black and white, it's never black and white. It's an MMA fight. Anything can happen. So I make sure that our fighters are ready. Our team, our coaching staff is ready for anything that goes on in there. Do we have a good grasp of what we think is going to go on? Of course. O'Malley's got his thing, but he's a very well-rounded fighter. He can shoot takedowns. He is good off his back. He does have jiu-jitsu. He's got, nice long striking combinations. But there's things that we can see that we can capitalize on. And obviously, it'd be a fool to think that they don't think, or his coach, Tim West, wouldn't think, oh, hey, we're going out there to just dive in on his legs. Of course they know that. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to make it, oh, hey, here I am, and boom, run into something. That's just stupid.
You don't want to pull a Ben Askren on this one, do you?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. There's no way that's happening. There's no way we're getting KO'd in that kind of situation. There's no way, are we going to get hit? Sure. Is Sean going to get taken down? Yes. Is it going to be a fight? Absolutely. And is it going to go everywhere? Yeah, I think it is. I think you're going to see a full-blown MMA fight. You're going to see O'Malley get hit. You're going to see Merab get hit. You're going to see people get taken down. Maybe our side, maybe their side. It's an MMA fight. We're really, literally ready for anything that happens.
Especially
and I think
Merab.
they are too. I think they are too. So that's the fight. We're training to do what we want. They're training to stop us at everything we want to do. That's the fight game.
And Merab kind of, doesn't get enough credit, right? Apparently he's so one-dimensional, but really when Merab's thriving is when he's at his best, when the striking is mixing in the takedowns, just kind of an all-around fighter, right? So I feel like to have success for Merab, we're going to have to see a fight like that, right? A fight where he's mixing it up.
Listen, this is the best version of Merab you're going to see. This is the best version of his striking, the best version of his grappling, the best version of his wrestling, the best cardio. His cardio, out of all the camps I've worked, I'm blown away.
You're honestly scaring me because when I saw the Petr Yan fight, I was like, "There's no way it can get better than this." Dude, you're scaring me right now, honestly.
We were just watching film on that today, and film on O'Malley and Yan, and Merab and Yan. He is so much 110% better in every area, cardio included, than he was when that fight happened. Wow. And like I said, it's if O'Malley, and they pull something off and they beat us, hats off to them. But I just don't see that happening. Rob they call him a machine for a reason. This dude is just getting better every day. It's cliche. I know every coach says that about it, but
that's the goal.
This is the thing. It's been stepped up. And like I said, I'm not kidding when we're talking 8 rounds deep with fighters, good fighters, and not even breathing hard, and that was weeks ago. And obviously we've tapered and peaked, and, we're peaking at the right time. I'm very happy, like I said, where everything goes. Like I said, today was a great day where I was just even me, all of the coaches were just like, damn, this is going to be a good one.
As far as Merab, is there anything people underestimate about his, his game, his style in the cage, his abilities? Is there anything people tend to overlook?
One thing that I'm getting sick of hearing, I love it. It's so stupid. Oh, Merab's chinny. He's chinny. When the hell has the dude been knocked out? Has he ever been knocked out?
I don't know. Maybe I guess they're looking at when sometimes he got hurt in the cage, or I don't know. But yeah,
he's been punched, he's been dropped, he's never been knocked out. How are you guys like everybody else? Oh, he's chinny. Dude, show me a knockout. Show me when he got knocked out. Has he been dropped? Yeah, sure. Guess what? O'Malley's been dropped. Guess what? O'Malley's been rocked. Guess what? Every single fighter I know on this planet has been rocked in fights, and multiple fights. So I really love the fact, oh, he's chinny. Yeah, okay. So the dude gets hit and he's got wobble, but guess what? He comes back and beats your ass after that. So that's one thing. I think the whole chinny thing is so, I just laugh when I hear it now, or people ask me about it. Has the dude gotten hit? Sure. Tell me a fighter that hasn't. Tell me a fighter from Adesanya to Pereira to the best in the world to everybody to O'Malley who hasn't gotten rocked, dropped, hit, hurt. Everybody does. The fact is the dude's never been knocked out. He's never been stopped. in that fashion. So, like that's the thing. I think one, his chin is definitely underrated for what people think. Go ahead, hit him. That's when he wakes up. That's when he goes. That's when he knows. Oh shit, I'm in a fight. Okay, we're coming back. Every single fight you ever see with him, when he gets clipped, that turns on the switch usually very shortly after, and it's go time. So, I think his chin is definitely underrated for people. We're talking about him fighting the best guys in the world too. It's not like he's fighting cans. It's not like he got a soft path like some other fighters have, or some other champions have got a soft path. This dude beat every best ranked opponent in front of him, and did it handily, and he's, like I said, he's only getting better. So, his striking, you're going to see a different version of his striking. You're going to see, a version that complements his game, not something that changes it. We're not making Merab the Muay Thai fighter. The only thing that's changed about this fight, realistically, and whatever, is his nationality. He's Mexican now. So other than that, it's going to be the
He's
same thing.
embracing it. Yeah.
It's just a better version of him.
Let me ask you something you also might disagree with. I mean, I don't feel this way, but I also just don't know. We had somebody like Corey, because I was checking out sort of like the MMA bantamweights perspective on the fight. I feel like that's interesting since they all kind of been in there with each other for the most part. We
Sure.
had Corey Sandhagen say that, Merab doesn't do a good job of closing that gap, especially early in the fight, early in rounds. He thinks O'Malley's one of the best guys at keeping that space, which I think that last part is true. Um,
Hmm?
do you think there's any truth to that? Do you think that could be a problem for Merab in this fight? And if not, is that something you guys have been working on?
Absolutely, of course. Like I said, there's nothing that we haven't addressed. There's nothing
Okay.
that, the major thing is when I go and I look to game plan for a fight, I don't go and just look at the opponent. I go and look, just like really good coaches would. I go look what I would see in my fighter, what I would see as a coach coaching across, saying, "Ooh, this is our opening. This is where we get him. This is how we do it." And I kind of work backwards from there. I'm a firm believer in, if you close up the holes, you close up your own gaps, you close up what has gotten us in trouble before, it makes it that much harder for the other fighter to deal with. We're also intending, I also look at the fact that Sean, is going to look, Sean and Tim are going to look at what we do, what they need to change, what they need to adjust to, where they can capitalize to make it better. And so they're changing and evolving too. I always tell my fighters, hey, listen, the guy that we get in the cage with, let's just assume he got better. Let's just assume those things that we see on tape, those holes, those things that we can't capitalize, aren't there anymore. So what do we do after that? Really leaving no stone unturned in the situation. Um, Sean is great at keeping distance. Sean is great at a lot of good things in striking. He's very good. He's a champion for a reason. I will not discount that. But when you watch somebody pressure him, like Peter Yan is a perfect example. Peter got to him. Peter got to him a lot. In fact, I'll be honest, I don't think he won that fight. I think Peter Yan clearly won that fight. And I think he might have won all 3 rounds. I do not know how they give that fight to Sean O'Malley. Um, it was a great freaking fight.
Yeah.
It was an awesome fight, but
Yeah.
O'Malley touched him up. O'Malley got there with his hands, got there with his takedowns, and pushed and pressured. So, and I think Jan might be shorter than Rob. I don't know, but so there's obviously ways to get there. There's obviously ways to make it happen. It is now up to the fighters. Coaching. Our job is done. Our job has been handled. Our job is now handed off to them and say, hey, go make the right decisions. And we're going to see who makes those decisions, who makes the least bad decisions, and makes the most right decisions. And there's always a way to find openings. There's always a way to capitalize. And so that's what we're going to hope for.
I can't really compare the Cheeto, and I'm not even going to compare this fight to it necessarily, but I'm curious what you think the difference is going to be. It's hard to compare the Cheeto fight because of the styles, but how do you think a fight like this differs from the O'Malley Sterling fight, right? Where Sean was able to keep the distance, avoid the takedowns, work the striking. Like, what do you think the difference will be in a fight like this with Merab instead?
Again, everybody can look at certain things and say, oh, Rob's bad at this, and Rob's bad at that. Or, well, okay, well, if he's so bad, how have these world champion guys that he's beat not been able to capitalize on it? How is Henry Cejudo, who is an Olympic wrestler, getting taken down, getting hit, getting beat up, getting tired? How is Peter Yan, who's one of the better striker overall guys, in the division, getting owned? You know, how is the legend Jose Aldo not, you know, how are all these guys losing? Okay, well, there's got to be something to it.
Yeah,
Marab's best attributes is he's a little tornado. He's a, you know, he's a little Tasmanian devil.
that's
The
fair to say.
chaos. He brings the chaos. What we have done, I'll never stop him. I never try to change a fighter, change what got them to the dance. Merab is Merab, and what that is like I said, it's that chaos control that has got him to the dance. So all I've done is try to control technical, start to keep the, you know, the it's controlled chaos now. It's the controlled, hey, instead of spamming 57 takedowns, we're going to get 5 takedowns, but we're going to make those takedowns count. And when you start to worry about those takedowns and you start to defend those takedowns heavy, we're going to start smacking you up, and then we're going to take you back down. It's chaos. You really don't know. Merab is a very special, unique guy who pulls things off that I wouldn't, you know, teach or show other fighters. Like there's certain guys you're just like, you know, like I don't train Khalil Roundtree like I train Merab. I don't train Merab like a lot of different people, you know, and it's, you've got to let that uniqueness, it's the uniqueness of every fighter that makes them special. But you have somebody in Merab who's just, he can do it at such a crazy, fanatical pace. And it's the chaos. It's the chaos that he brings that will make the difference. And that's what makes the difference in a lot of fights.
What do I know, right? But in a matchup like this, in my fan mind, I'm thinking that this is a fight that is a mismatch for both guys. Like Marab's a mismatch for O'Malley and vice versa, which I think makes it even more excited. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think it's a great matchup. I do think, you know, that they're both where, you know, where you say maybe they would lack, it complements the other fighters. So there's a lot of, like I said,
Sure.
there's a lot of, it's an interesting chess match. It's, you know, I don't think it's any, I don't think the game plan for either but anybody is a big secret. I think you're gonna, what you think is gonna happen is what's eventually kind of play out.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of craziness in between that changes. You know, like I said, O'Malley shoots a takedown. We drop O'Malley with you know, with a punch. There's gonna be a lot of that stuff in this fight too.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's a great fight. I love it. I think that, you know, I'm excited for Merab. I know they're going to step, you know, bring the best version of Sean. I know that, you know, it's just, it's overall, it's great. It's great to be, you know, matched up against another fighter like that, another coach like that. I'm looking for, I don't think, you know, I'll tell you this right now, the whole, oh, he's going to get starched right off the bat, it's going to be one round. No, it's not. It ain't going to be close to that kind of deal. It's going to be a scrap.
What do you think about when people are like Marab's either gonna pummel him for 5 rounds or Sean's gonna like knock him out in 2 rounds? That's inaccurate to say.
I
I
mean, I
mean,
think that's the way. Let's put it this way. I think that's the way O'Malley has to win. I think
I
that's.
would agree.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the way O'Malley has to win is if he doesn't get him out there quick and doesn't get him out trying in those first few rounds. It's going to be a long night at the office. But I also do like, you're going to see even past this fight, you're going to see Merab starting to evolve, and those finishes and those things and those knockdowns and those TKOs and those things really start to evolve here in his game. You know, with the pressure, with the things that we're bringing, the things that we're training for them, adapting to. Um, you know, I'm not going to go out and make any crazy bold statements that this is
Sure.
where, you know, hey, Rob's going to go out and knock out O'Malley. But do I think Rob's going to win? Yes. Do I think Rob's going to win in a very good fashion? Yes.
And that's what you guys are preparing for. So I totally understand that. Any concerns of Tim Welch telling Merab to shoot for a takedown?
He ain't gonna even understand or listen what that dude
Do you
says.
guys
But
have like a decoy Tim Welch in camp that's like trying to like override your voice? you know?
no, good for him. Like my plan is if Tim starts yelling at Rob, I'll start yelling at Sean. You know, we'll
I like
counteract it.
that. There you
I'll
go.
start. We
Yeah.
can switch halfway through. We can even, you know, if that's something he wants to do, I'll start coaching Sean halfway through. He can start coaching Rob.
Yeah, that'll
Whatever.
work.
It is a thing, but you know, we're playing for that. If like, I mean, I think that's, you know, that's an interesting tactic. And you know, I don't know how edited those videos are, what that part, how far apart that actually happened. But you know, good on
Sure.
him. I mean, that's some crazy cornering, you know, and tactics and stuff. But yeah, if Tim starts yelling at Rob, I'll start yelling at Sean.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I really appreciate the time and insight, Coach. Be sure to tune in for UFC 306, September 14th at the Sphere. Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili go at it for the UFC Bantamweight Championship. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Take care.